Okay. That makes more sense. 8 hours and 49 minutes. I just put in a 16 gigabyte card, and I had an 8 before. And I had all sorts of other stuff on the card, and now, and it was showing me a total of like only 4 hours. I was thinking, 4 gig? 4 gig an hour? A video? Well, maybe. 3GP is pretty parsimonious and, really pretty short. About 12 meg a minute. Yeah, so not 4 gig. It should be 4. I think it should 12 times, what? 60, 720 meg an hour. That's a lot different from 4 gig an hour. And I was thinking, that's what it seemed to be. I was thinking, that seems too much. Then now I see it's more like 8.5 hours, so that's half. It's still too long, but let's not worry about it. It's really, it's very pleasant to sit here and do what smokers do. I mean, I'm not a smoker. I've always kind of envied smokers, except I've also thought, I felt sorry for them at the same time. I mean, it's a terrible damage you do to your body. I've never had any doubt that nicotine, for people for whom nicotine works, it works really well. I'm not sensitive to it. It's never done it for me, but I can believe it can do it for other people. Just like, THC, for example, is an extreme stimulant for me. It's other people, it's a relaxer. THC really makes me go in a way that if I wanted to use some other kind of drug, I'd have to look to like coke or crystal meth or something. No. I mean, I could be offered a line, but I will never buy any coke. Oh my gosh, I think that's not a way to go at all. I mean, it's too frickin' expensive. Who wants to spend that money, even if you got it? It's stupid, Well, and it's dangerous. That's the thing. It can be far more addictive than, it can change. It can screw up your life. That's the bottom line. And pot can too. But there are, I think, the percentage of people who use pot regularly, whose lives are not screwed up, is much, the ratio of that to the overall. In other words, that some people screw up their lives, but you're going to screw up their lives on something, whether it's drugs or alcohol, another kind of drug, alcohol, or whether it's workaholism, or whether it's sexaholism, whatever, people who are going to screw up their lives, it's not the thing itself. It's not having too much sex. It's not working too hard. It's not drinking too much alcohol. It's not smoking too much pot. That's the issue. The issue is, do I have the wherewithal to make my life my own? And the answer is not a simple yes or no. It's in each aspect of my life. Do I have the ability? And even there, is it a yes, no, or is it a continuum? Yeah, I'm making some progress on that. I am kind of my own person when it comes to these kinds of things. Not always, but I'm better than I was, because I used to be my mom's boy. Or, my alma mater's thing, this is the way we did it at the fraternity, or at the church, or in Boy Scouts, or whatever it is, wherever you learn those very basic lessons about how to go about living, which might be might have been completely relevant to you at the time, or perhaps at least relevant to, say, the people who were your mentors and your models. Maybe it worked for them, or maybe it really didn't, but you just thought it did. That's the other thing. It's possible, but there are all sorts of possibilities. The really important thing is, what matters is you now. Now! How do you think about things now? Things that your mother told you that for your whole life, you go, yeah, although not really. Well, if you leave it that way, then you're going to wind up spending a fair amount of your time listening to the dictates of your mother, or the mother that you kind of created in your own head. Whether this person actually, whether the voice in your head is truly your mother's, or is inspired by your mother, or it's got her words, or her look, or but it's more like it has your feelings at the time it happened. So that's why parents are so important, because things happen, disappointments, frustrations, mistakes, passions, positive passions that get dashed. So often we get in trouble for doing something we really, we weren't trying to do anything bad. We're just trying to do something we love to do. And whoops, we screwed up something, we screwed up bad, but that wasn't our intention. And so, some children are given support at that time by a parent or somebody, nurturing person, who says, I understand that you were in the middle of doing something good, and I'm glad you were doing the good thing. Okay, but you got to understand that you have to pay more attention to something. And you know what? Since you hurt somebody, you really owe it to them. I mean, that's just what happens. You don't have to feel any worse than you already feel. Of course you feel bad that somebody got hurt because of you. So you don't have to add to that. You don't have to prove how much pain you have. I think you need to offer that person some help if you can. And if that person won't take it, which sometimes people don't because they're angry with you, and they have a right to, they shouldn't have to tell you you're forgiven. The only person who can forgive yourself is you, ultimately. So it's all up to you. I need to. I'm saying, I'm looking at myself in the camera, so I'm talking to myself. And not that doing this stuff is, just to do it. No, not at all. No, I would say, when I started very seriously working to inject fun into whatever I was doing, or whatever I do now, can't always do it, and not everything is it really appropriate for it. Although it's rare. It's a question of how you do it. But even the worst situations, say you're during a tragedy or something, and a whole bunch of people have died in the community, flood or something like that. The people that are mourning, grieving, and scared, and are waiting to find out about their loved ones, and may never find out, for example. They need a little break, a little fun. It's good at that time. It's really helpful. It breaks that tension. And it doesn't have to be perceived as, ha ha ha, we're laughing while people are in misery, but rather, look, you're trying your best, I'm trying my best. Well, probably the mistake you just made, let me make light of it, not laugh at you. Maybe make it clear that I can make these same mistakes too. And it's okay. And you know what? We can exchange a smile. We're both very scared about people who might not ever be found alive, and terrible things, and we're running around. But I might need just that moment from you, just the look in the face, maybe a smile or a little laugh. Something that says that you understand a little bit about me and my needs. That this is a very hard time. That you're having a very hard time too, and we're sharing this. But let's look for something good in it, because it's the good that's going to give us the energy to deal with the bad. The more I do this,